Despite some issues with its smartphones, Huawei is dropping yet more wearables with the Watch 3, which, as it turns out after a week of usage, is pretty impressive. But let's dive in. Thanks for watching 9 to 5 Google here on YouTube. Remember to thumbs up, hit subscribe, and then tap the bell icon to be among the first to watch our upcoming videos. Give me a round watch face and I'm usually pretty happy. The Huawei Watch 3 is a round-faced watch and it's expertly crafted, and the design is fairly inconspicuous, exactly how a watch should be, at least in my opinion. It is far from perfect though, but this is a solid and well-made smartwatch, at least when you first get it out of the box. There is a ridged rotating side dial and flat macro button on the right side, with no other hardware keys cluttering what is a fairly seamless build. There is a speaker that is hidden from view on the right side of the chassis, which allows you to take and place calls or even listen to music if you really want to, although I would suggest avoiding the latter. Audio can get loud, but it is tinny compared to your smartphone speaker or even a pair of earbuds, which you can pair with this smartwatch. Another big bonus here is the usage of a regular strap, as it's just much more comfortable than some of the flap style options we see from other manufacturers such as Fitbit. I have to say the entire package is assured. Despite a multitude of issues in the software stakes, it's really hard to be majorly negative with the look and feel of the Watch 3. It is genuinely outright exceptional. The dial is backed by lovely haptic vibration when scrolling, while the macro button is just the right side of mushy and clicky when you do depress it. The display at 1.43 inches on the Watch 3 is what I consider fairly large for a smartwatch and about the very limit of what I'd consider for comfort. It is genuinely very good too, and it's sharp at 326 ppi, while the 1000 nit max brightness means there are hardly any issues when viewing in direct or bright sunlight. At times, I actually thought that the display was faster than the 60Hz maximum refresh rate touted, but this is probably more down to the software, and the hardware is tuned, and it makes the overall package feel a little bit snappier as a result of this tuning. As well, a big bonus is that the display is completely flat, which is great for usability, and while it has taken some abuse in the short week that I've had the Watch 3, it has held up really well. The display though is really let down by the lack of good watch faces on offer. I think Huawei needs to up the selection and quality of the free options, as the Watch 3 doesn't appear to have any majorly standout options that you can choose, or ones that I feel I can stick with. There are a few okay options, and I'm sure for most people they will be absolutely fine. So one of the headline additions, and we've heard a lot about, is the supposed homebrew HarmonyOS, but it's not clear upon the first usage how it differs from Android that Huawei is set to leave behind. The Chinese firm is leaning heavily into the idea of a wider ecosystem here, but if you have no plan to pick up a Huawei smartphone or any other Huawei devices, something we actually actively suggest you don't do unless you're happy sideloading or dealing with certain issues, then I think this is not going to affect your daily usage too drastically. The general performance levels are genuinely excellent. It actually shocked me how good they were, and it's smoother than most other Wear OS devices that I've ever reviewed. I really didn't expect HarmonyOS, nor the Huawei Watch 3 to offer such a smooth experience. It's snappy, animations are crisp, and apps load fairly quickly. Granted, there are not a lot of apps that you can use or that you will be using beyond the default options, and they'll cover most of what most people need. That said, it does come powered by the LTE-capable Hi 6262 chipset and 2GB of RAM, with 16GB of onboard storage also included, so there's plenty of space if you do want to delve into the app gallery and choose from the fairly limited selection available there of third-party applications. You can also choose between an app grid or traditional list layout view when tapping the dial button. Although I have never used an Apple Watch, it looks eerily similar to how the Watch OS handles its own app grid. Being able to pinch and zoom in and out is a really nice way to navigate all of your installed apps without scrolling endless lists and menus. That said, you can have a list menu if you choose so. A limitation though of this version of HarmonyOS is that some notifications you'll get on your wrist lose the interactive elements that are associated with Wear OS, and something that I do prefer. If, like me though, you do use a smartwatch mainly as an extension of your smartphone only for things like fitness tracking and reminders to check or pick up emails and messages on your smartphone, then this probably is going to be absolutely fine for you. However, it might be frustrating if you're the complete opposite. You'll need to decide just what you're willing to give up here before you make the decision to pick it up. Another notable is that NFC is also included, but without Google Pay or a supported wireless payment app in your region, it's not going to be much use, unfortunately, and it is a big bugbear. As for fitness modes, Huawei touts over 100 workout modes, including tracking for 17 core activities, with a further 85 custom workout modes that you can tailor to your own levels. Those custom workout modes cover a heck of a lot of really niche sports and activities, including even things like archery, belly dancing, and random things like laser tag. I'm not really sure many of these qualify as a traditional workout, but you can track them if you really want to. The data is showcased in activity circles that will sync with certain watch faces on the watch itself. It's lifted, or it looks as though it's lifted directly from the Apple Watch, but it does give you a nice clear visual indicator of your activity through any given day. Does it make me want to feel those rings? Well, I'm not so sure about increasing my urge to move, but it's easy to decipher what each ring represents at a glance. Other notable fitness tracking features include an SpO2 sensor that has sort of become standard on just about any smartwatch worth its salt in recent times, especially since the start of the pandemic. What's more interesting to me though is a skin temperature sensor, which can supposedly help probe further into your overall health picture. I'm honestly not so sure about how this helps, but I suppose it's one of those nice to haves on the Watch 3. Huawei touts a 3-day battery life on the Watch 3, but I can't honestly say that I've managed to attain such lofty lifespan goals. 2 days is pretty much a piece of cake though. In no way would I say the Watch 3 is a battery beast, but it is a pretty solid performer when compared to much of the Wear OS competition. I found that I had to charge once every couple of days when I enabled the always on display feature, but there was a significant uplift in the lifespan when this was disabled. I do like the charger itself as it works no matter how you attach it to the back of the Watch 3. Sometimes smartwatches can have annoyances about how you line up that charging cable, but it is magnetic and it works in any direction, which means you can seat it how you see fit. In my experience, it takes around 2 hours or just over to go from dead to 100% capacity, which I think is in line with most wearables that I would use on a regular basis. So all in all, I think it's really tough to even suggest that someone goes out and picks up a Huawei smartphone, but the firm's headphone and wearable lines are pretty much fair game. I'll go so far as to say as I think the Huawei Watch 3 is probably the only Huawei ecosystem device worth considering right now. It's as good as the TicWatch Pro 3, which was my favourite Wear OS watch of last year in terms of overall daily wear, lifespan and performance, which is a real standout performer itself within the Google-backed Wear OS ecosystem. Where it falters is in the extended access and interactivity with your favourite apps right there on your wrist. Of course, it will depend heavily on whether you want or need access to apps like Gmail on your arm, or if you really need to be able to make mobile payments with apps like Google Pay. That said, you will have to decide if that is enough of a reason to even consider this. For those reasons alone, I think it is still a tough sell, but this is a very good smartwatch that isn't quite as inhibited by the lack of Google Play services access as a smartphone ever would be. Because it's more likely to be tethered to your wrist, it doesn't seem to suffer the same fate as the P series and Mate series smartphones, and that's probably all you need to hear. But with that said, let us know what you think of the Huawei Watch 3 down in the comments section below. Is it a no-go or is it something you would consider picking up? And would you even consider a non-Wear OS smartwatch if you are an Android user? As always though, this is Damien with 9to5 Google saying thanks for watching, and I will speak to you later.